Good morning, small players. Happy Thursday. We're already halfway through September. And the first stock on the scanner is ATXG. Excuse me. This stock was a mover yesterday. So it's a second day runner. As we've discussed in these videos, second day runners are normally easier for short sellers, harder for long bias traders. That doesn't mean that it's impossible to get long bias trades. We, oftentimes trade second day runners, but we need to have that awareness that shorts are more aggressive on the second day and they normally have the upper hand. Key level here is 5.5 and then this area of 520, 525-ish. So if this one drops on bell due to short pressure, I would be looking for a dip and rip setup for a bounce on 5.5, 525, 515, and that 5 I guess would be the last area I'd be interested in as a key psychological number. For breakouts, it's having trouble holding this level of 6. A lot of rejections there, a couple of rejections there yesterday, and then a lot of rejections there this morning. I wouldn't be very comfortable trading a break above 6 because it has all this choppiness here. But for a breakout trade, I would trade a break above 625, which is break above yesterday's high of day and technically a double top because it tried to test it this morning as well. So that would be the breakout trade, and our bounce trade would be bounced on one of these levels of support. For short bias traders, I would either trade a break below 5.5 or on bell, if it rejects 6 or 625, a rejection there is a move towards the downside. ATXG. Okay, the next one is FSRD, another stock that popped up on scanner yesterday. A little bit on the cheaper side. Right now it's below EMA 20, so it's technically in shorts territory. Any rejection of EMA 20 could trigger a short trade. For a move towards 5, any short trades should be closed. Any short position should be closed before it touches 5, because 5 is a big psychological level and potentially an area where longs can regain control or find some buyers. For long bias traders, I'm going to send alert for break above 65. FSRD. Then we have TYDE. And this one's very close to $1. Breaks above $1 are very big for these penny stocks. So we can keep an eye on it. It's trying to consolidate, trying to hold the MA20. It's been testing it way too many times. So I'd say for short bias traders, a break below 85 cents is a move towards a short trade towards 82 cents and 80 cents. And then for long bias traders, we can send alert for break above VWAP for a move towards 1. Break above 1 would be an add. STOR, these type of setups are not my favorite, where it just like pops up and then doesn't have a lot of range. See, like there's a 30-cent range on these candles, even though it's a big pop. So I don't know. It's forming a 5-minute flag. We could look at 5-minute flag break if there's really nothing else to trade, but not so interested in a chart like that. BEAT. This one is on a rally. It's just all green candles, one after the other. We'll probably find some rejection around 2, which is a big psychological number, and then we also have a lot of momentum going into it. So at some point, shorts are going to look for a place to enter. With that said, when we have a chart like this, the only entry here on the 5-minute chart would be a bounce on VWAP, which is 175, or the high of this candle, which also happens to be 175. So if we want to get a more immediate entry when we have a move like that, the 1-minute chart is helpful. This is the only time I use the 1-minute chart outside of trying to determine whether volume's coming in or not, because looking at the 1-minute chart could get very tricky if you're looking at something that doesn't have momentum. So we only use it to determine entry on a stock that looks like this, boom, 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 no stop, when you want to be able to figure out where you can enter. So here we can get 195 area would be a decent balanced entry because that's where it had resistance on the way up. And then this area right here, 188, and then the high of this candle, 182. So see, now we have 3 potential entries before 175, giving us an opportunity to take advantage of the momentum in case it never pulls back enough. So that's how we use the 1 minute chart, but it's only usable when the volume's like this, when you have triple time the volume that you had before, not when the stock is in a long consolidation pattern where it just goes zigzag, zigzag on the 1 minute chart. And also 1 minute flag breaks are valid in this type of situation. So it's forming a flag now. This candle still has 40 seconds to close. So if it closes like this, flag break would be break about 198. B. I like this chart. STOR, similar to that other chart before, not a lot of movement, not a lot of range. NRBO is a stock that we've been trading quite a lot. We traded it 2 days ago. Then yesterday was moving again in pre-market, but then it didn't really present an entry opportunity during market hours. We had an alert for break above 30 because that's where the rejection was, but it didn't break it. This morning, it didn't break it either. So we still have that alert. If it breaks above 30, that would be a big squeeze area to help it go back up towards 40, really. So it has a lot of room to move, but we just need that first to show us bullish momentum, so we'll wait for that. ADTX is the same company as HKD. You guys know HKD. We've traded it. Well, we haven't traded it. We always traded AMTD instead because it had a lot more volume and a lot less spread. HKD is a Chinese IPO that has been perking up, but oftentimes when it does that, it has very low volume on the day. So see, even now. And then the highest volume yesterday was 15,000 shares being traded in 1 minute, which is not a lot. I mean, this should be in the hundreds of thousands. So because of that, it has this big spread. So right now it has a $12 spread. For a $12 spread, if you have a $25 move, you're break even. So you need a lot bigger moves to make money, and that makes your trades a lot riskier. So normally, I mean, we keep it on the watch list when it moves because we want to know that there's momentum, because then we know the momentum will come at AMTD. But actual HKD oftentimes is really just not tradable, especially to make it worth it. I mean, you can trade 5 shares at a time, 10 shares at a time, maybe. I mean, look at what feels on the time and sales, but it's just not enough to do something with your account, and not to mention you're putting yourself at a lot of risk because the spread is so big. Whereas AMTD normally has a lot of volume, no spread, and it's just more tradable. So we tend to, when HKD moves, we always trade AMTD, and we've had amazing trades in the past. So these are the daily levels on the chart from the last time we traded it. Make sure I also have an alert for break above 6. Now what is this one right here? 450. Okay, so the first level to break is 3. That's our alert on the chart from the last time we traded it. It's approaching there, so definitely a potential. Once it starts slicing through those resistances, as you can see, there's so many of them for the high, all-time high, which is 12.9. There's plenty of room for it to get back out there now that it's finally perking back up. It looks like 2 is a very key level in terms of, holding. If we look at the chart, it's where everything sort of started turning around. So it needs to stay above 2. If I were to swing trade this, I would want it to stay above 2 on the closing price of today to make sure that I have momentum for that swing trade. I don't particularly love swing trading these stocks. I find that it's just so much safer to buy and sell the same day. But, you know, every now and then there is something, some movement that tells you, okay, maybe I'll do it. Maybe it's worth the risk. We'll see, you know, about this one, but just in general, 2 is a key level for it to hold. So for short sellers, move below 2 would be a trade towards 185. Then I'd close that, and then I probably, you know, reopen a new short position for a break below 180. For long bias traders, the high this morning is 214. I'd set an alert for break above 215 for a breakout trade. Bounces on 2 are also valid. The problem is VWAP is right on 205, so that's not giving you a lot of range to trade. So I'd rather just wait for a break above 215. The rest of the stocks on the scanner, the volume's too low. So let's just take a look at QQQ to see if we can have any SQQQ or TQQ trades today. 294, 296, those are just the key levels we've been trading around. This morning is a little tricky. We'll see, you know, if it's a day like this, like yesterday, you know, this is a lot of, it's a scalper's day, really, like a lot of action back and forth. Like, look at this, and then it drops, and this, and drops. So trading something like this on TQQQ and SQQQ requires a lot of buying and selling, a lot of scalping, and a lot of skill. So it's not as easy as, you know, when we traded it 2 days ago, when it had a move like this. Like something like this is just very easy to trade on the side of SQQQ, right? Not a lot of, it went below VWAP and never looked back. So it just, you know, you trail your stop and you're fine. Something like this, of course, there's a lot of momentum, there's a lot of volatility, it's great, but this is the type of stuff that if you are not experienced enough, it could blow up your account. Even if you're experienced, you can end up red, but you probably have good risk management to not have it hurt you long term. But if you're someone that's new, and let's say the previous day you saw your friend making insane money on this, you're like, okay, today I want to do it, and you go in full size and you have a day like this, you end up wiping your account. You know, especially if we trade options like TQQQ and SQQQ, they don't move as much. So, you know, you're fine. Like if you're trading them and you take a loss, whatever, you lose 5% on your account, okay. But if you're trading options, you can lose 100% on your account. And trading them is a good introduction to options because you're starting to look at the general market and large caps. So I'm going to send an alert here for break above 297.31. That would be, you know, a trigger for a long trade, and then break above 299. We can just put it there. It's also a trigger for a long trade for TQQQ. Today, more immediate on these daily levels that we see here, I wouldn't really know. You could trade level to level. The problem is on options, you have more room, so it makes sense. On TQQQ, if I trade 295 to 296 to 296.5, there's just not enough range on TQQQ to make the trade worth it. And then you have 297. I could much rather focus on the small caps and have a little move like that, have a 20% range instead of a 3% range, right? So that's why I like to trade TQQQ and SQQQ on days when there is like clear momentum on the upside or on the downside. And for that, I'd have to wait for a break above 297.30. That would give me a clear momentum on the upside, and then clear momentum on the downside would be break below 294, which has been a big level. But the risky part there is that now it found bottom here on like 293.30, 293-ish. So we might have to wait for a break below 293 for a very clear SQQQ trade. So if it doesn't have a very big move on either side today, I'd probably just stay away from the QQQQs, TQQQ and SQQQ. Okay, guys, I will see you in the chat room.